As part of our mission, NEST strives to catalyze new initiatives, as well as doing outreach and education to support the growth of a stronger and more resilient southern tier. HeatSmart Southern Tier is one of the many programs that NEST has to offer. As you can see, we have many different programs, such as Southern Tier Solar Works and Binghamton Community Power. But today we will talking about HeatSmart Southern Tier. Here is the overview for our presentation today. First, we will go over what HeatSmart Southern Tier is and how it works. Then, we will discuss visualization and heat pump technologies. Next, we will talk about what incentives and financing opportunities are available for technology and how to get started. Last, we will go over some other opportunities to use clean energy and finish up with Q&A. Feel free to put any questions that come up during the presentation into the chat or unmute during the Q&A. So, first of all, what is HeatSmart Southern Tier? This program is one of the several state campaigns to connect public and local experts in clean energy technologies. NYSERDA is the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, and they are supporting communities across the state to implement community-based outreach and education programs for clean heating and cooling technology. HSST operates in Broome, Tayuga, Chenango, and Delaware counties. We work through this program to educate all on sustainable heating and cooling through workshops, tabling events, and webinars like this. Let's take a look at where we stand now in terms of greenhouse gas emissions. This diagram shows the primary source of greenhouse gas emissions in New York State. As you can see, heating and cooling buildings accounts for 32% of the emission. It's our aim to reduce this proportion by promoting and enabling people to switch off of fossil fuels and onto more efficient clean energy technologies. So what's the benefits of HeatSmart? Some of the biggest draws to participating in the HST program are individual benefits. Installing the clean energy technology can help to reduce your energy costs while increasing your home comfort and safety. You can also make a positive contribution to your local and global communities by reducing greenhouse gas emissions and increasing awareness about the importance of clean energy. We are working with lots of different municipalities in Southern Tier to become clean energy communities. This is another program run by NYSERDA that gives award to municipalities that make clean energy and other sustainable improvements. If you make clean energy improvements, like increasing the energy efficiency of your home or installing heat pumps, you can earn points for your municipality. Those points can turn into financial awards like grants, so you can support other sustainable improvements. The technology we promote mainly deal with weatherization and heat pumps. The goal of weatherization, such as insulations and air sealings, is to protect your home from outside elements in order to maximize energy efficiency. Heat pumps are the technology that provide clean and efficient energy that you can use for heating and cooling your home. Our program focuses on ground source, air source, and heat pump water heaters. We'll talk more about those technologies in the next few slides. Here are our install partners. They are also on the call today. They can join us during the Q&A section. So please allow me to introduce Bobby to talk about HeatSmart technology.
Thank you, Chang. So I will now be going over the technology portion of this webinar. So the first thing I will be talking about is weatherization, which is the first step of our HeatSmart program. Looking at the diagram on the right, you can see the common air leaks found in a home. The red arrows represent hot air escaping through the attic, and the blue arrows show cool air getting into the basement. And weatherization prevents this. Basically, weatherization is a practice of protecting a building from these air leaks through insulation and sealing. Reducing the air leaving and entering your home also reduces the need to burn fossil fuels or use electricity for temperature control, meaning that it optimizes energy efficiency. So it's good to weatherize your home whether you are getting heat pumps or not. If you have concerns about temperature regulation, ventilation, air quality, or are dealing with moisture problems, these are also good reasons to look into weatherizing your home. This next slide will emphasize the benefits of weatherization I just mentioned. So to recap, weatherization reduces your energy consumption and costs, and also increases the safety and comfort of your home. So how does weatherization reduce your energy consumption and costs? Well, with a tightly sealed home, there's a lower chance that any heat will leak out of your home and that unwanted cool air will infiltrate it. And as you can see, weatherization increases the safety and comfort of your home by reducing drafts, improving humidity control, improving indoor air quality, and reducing the risk of ice dams. Overall, weatherization makes your home more comfortable to live in and more energy efficient. Now, onto heat pump technologies. Heat pumps are an alternative system for heating and cooling your home. While traditional systems use fossil fuels, heat pumps use electricity and offer a more sustainable way to heat and cool your home. This diagram shows how heat pumps work. There's always heat in the air and the ground, even in the winter. So heat pumps simply move the heat into a space or out of it using a compressor, instead of burning fossil fuels to produce heat. So basically, this technology will move heat into your home in the winter and out of your home in the summer using electricity. If you have a refrigerator, you already have this type of technology in your home. There are 3 types of heat pumps that we'll cover tonight: ground source, air source, and water heaters. While ground source heat pumps can heat domestic hot water, air source heat pumps must be paired with a heat pump water heater. The first heat pump I'll go over is ground source heat pumps. Ground source heat pumps are also known as geothermal. So how do they work? About 6 feet below the ground is a very stable temperature. And what geothermal systems do is circulate a fluid in pipes below the ground, and this transfers the warm energy from the ground into this fluid. Heat is then concentrated through electricity and compression, and then circulated through your home. During the warmer months, it works in reverse, transferring the heat in your home back into the ground. As you can see in the 2 diagrams below, there are 2 different types of closed-loop ground source heat pumps, horizontal and vertical, which refers to how the pipes are placed into the ground. To know if it's better for you to have a horizontal or vertical system, it's important to get an energy assessment done from an installer. Now we'll go over the benefits of having ground source heat pumps, which includes having a positive effect on the environment, lowering your energy bill, and having a safer and more comfortable home. This system is very efficient in heating and cooling your home, and it's long lasting. And because it can include heating domestic hot water, it can completely eliminate fossil fuels in your home, meaning no more expensive oil or gas deliveries in the middle of winter. Now, onto air source heat pumps. The other type of heat pumps are air source heat pumps, which work similarly to ground source, but they take heat from the air and pump it into your home. These are typically a ductless system and don't require underground pipes like the ground source heat pump, which allows for easy and quick installation. Air source systems consist of one outdoor unit, which is linked to one or more units in your home. These units come in various styles, as you can see above, to fit different aesthetics and cost preferences. The different types of indoor units, as you can see in this diagram, are wall mount, ceiling cassette, floor mount, and mini duct. Now, more benefits. Air source heat pumps are also very flexible. They allow for zone control in your home. So if you'd prefer, you can get just 1 or 2 heat pumps and use them for just a couple of rooms. Air source heat pumps can allow you to have air conditioning without the ductwork, which also allows for a quick installation, as I mentioned earlier. And lastly, these heat pumps are known to be very quiet. The final technology that I will cover tonight are heat pump water heaters. Heat pump water heaters are basically an electric water heater with an air source heat pump on top. They're usually paired with an air source heat pump and use indoor air to heat the domestic water. Many times they have a backup system to meet high demands. They are very beneficial to install because they are efficient and can also serve as a dehumidifier. So that concludes the technology portion of this webinar, and I'll now pass it to Erin for the finances.
Hi, everyone. So, of course, this is all really great technology that we want you to have access to, but a really important question, of course, is how to pay for it. So, to start us off a little bit, a lot of these programs that, these financial incentive programs are based off of income. So to kind of give you a visual, one of the programs we have through New York State is called the Empower program. And the way that's broken down is if you're below 60% of the area median income, you qualify for Empower Low Income. And if you're between 60% and 80% of the area median income, you would be in the moderate income category. But when you move over to federal programs, the low income category becomes a little bit wider. The pool becomes wider. If you're below 80% of the area median income, that would be lower income. And if you're between 80 and 150%, that would be a moderate income. And the reason why any of that matters is because the lower income programs generally have a higher degree of support, because really the purpose of all of this is to improve access to these clean energy technologies for people who normally would not be able to access them. So to give a little visual breakdown, so you can see in this chart, depending on your home size, there's different levels for what 60% of the area median income would be for your annual income. This would be 80% of the area median income, and this would be 150% of the area median income for Broome, Shenango, Tioga, and Delaware counties. So if you see if you just scroll down the left side and say how many people are in your home, and you can look across and see where you might fall in these categories. Okay, so then to dive into the incentives, the first batch that we have are income dependent, meaning that if you're lower income, it's tailored to that. If you're moderate income, it's tailored to that. It's based on your income. So the first set are from the federal government through the Inflation Reduction Act. They're a set of rebates, and they serve to reduce the cost of your project. So for example, for air sealing and insulation, which are part of weatherization, there is 100% of the project cost being covered up to $1,600 for low income, and then 50% of the project costs being covered up to $1,600 for moderate income. Similar thing with an air source heat pump. You get 100% of the rebate if you're federal low income, up to $8,000, and then 50% of the rebate for moderate income up to $8,000. Similarly, there's one for a heat pump water heater with a different cap as well. Next, we have the NYSERDA Empower program. So the tier 1 is the lower income, which has a bit of a higher level of support. So if you're below 60% of the area median income, the state can give you 100% off your project costs up to $10,000. So that's a pretty wide variety of projects that would include air sealing, weatherization projects, and a slew of other updates as well. And then they also have a moderate income tier 3. So that would be also 100% off of project costs, but that's up to $5,000 instead of $10,000. Then we also want to point out the Home Energy Assistance Program, or HEAP. So this is an assistance program for low-income renters and homeowners. What it offers is energy bill assistance. So if you are not always able to pay your bill, this is to help you do that. If you have a looming shutoff that could be threatening, this is also to help you with that. It will also help you clean, repair, and replace your heating system if that's needed. I believe once a year you can get assistance with that. So then we move on to income independent incentives. That means it doesn't really matter what your income is, and you would qualify for these incentives depending on what the project is and what your home, what sort of qualifications your home falls into. So we have some rebates from NYSEG. Again, that means that there's a reduction of the project cost. There's not a rebate for air sealing and insulation, but there is one for an air source heat pump, a ground source heat pump, and a heat pump water heater. The air source heat pump and ground source heat pump are based on the size of the system. So that's why it says, you know, $800 per 10K British thermal units, BTUs. So that's just the amount, the capacity of the system. And then a heat pump water heater is $700 to $800 rebate. Then we have comfort home incentives. So this is the market rate incentives. You would start with a free consultation. And then if you seal and insulate your attic and the rim joists of your home, you would be eligible for $1,600. If you then, on top of that, insulate your walls and floors, you would be eligible for $3,000. And then if you do the whole thing, you get a consultation, you seal and insulate attic and rim joists, you insulate your walls and floors, and then you also upgrade your windows, you would get $4,000. And then there could also be extra money if you then install a heat pump. Then we move on to tax credits. So these are also more geared towards people if you owe money on your federal and or state taxes. This could be really helpful for you. So for New York State, they have a tax credit for ground source heat pumps. That's 25% of your project costs up to $5,000. And then through the federal government, you can get a 30% tax credit of the project costs for any weatherization. And then you can get a 30% tax credit with a little bit higher cap for an air source heat pump, a ground source heat pump, and a heat pump water heater. And then so once you're going through this program, finding your financial incentives, if you're still not able to meet full project costs, there are different financing options available. NYSERDA has two different loan programs. They have the same terms. The only difference is that the on-bill recovery loan, as opposed to the smart energy loan, is paid on your utility bill over time. And then we have different home improvement lenders that could provide unsecured loans with dealer fees. So this would be through a company like Synchrony or Enerbank. And then, of course, you can always go through your local bank. Often they have loans that are specific for home improvements. And then we have some new funding opportunities in the queue that have come up and running recently. So the first one that we wanted to mention is for anyone who's qualified for Empower, there's some limited time gap funding available. So if your house needs improvements before you can move on to the weatherization stage or the heat pump stage, there's some funding to help folks get their home ready for the clean energy upgrades that they would need. And then I'm going to kick it over to Jess from Insulation Man to just mention some things about NYSEG's insulation pilot program and the sealed program. If Jess is there. If not, we can also. Oh,
No,
yeah.
I am so sorry. I was in the middle of another conversation, didn't even hear my name being called. So I apologize to everybody for that.
All good.
So yes, we do have a couple of opportunities that are specifically for the market rate demographic. One is, so the $1,200 rebate down here under the sealed program, That is also through NYSEG. It is a $1,200 instant rebate specific for the attic measures. NYSEG has just launched a new insulation and air sealing pilot program, which will give you up to $2,000, but it is capped at 50% of the project. So if it's a smaller project, you may not necessarily get that full $2,000 because it is a 50% cap. And then, did you go over your gap funding information with them?
Yep. Unless there's anything you wanted to add with that.
No, I mean, we have a couple customers we're looking at right now where, you know, they're not meeting requirements as far as being able to get some electrical upgrades. And, you know, this is looking like it's really going to help them. So, you know, anybody that needs it, I mean, we can work with you guys.
Great.
But yeah, no, the two NYSEG programs, I mean, anybody in the southern tier, we are the only contractor that can offer those. The next closest one is way out in Ithaca. So if you're looking at either one of those NYSEG programs. Okay, so Lou, the sealed program, I mean, that's just pretty easy. They no longer provide financing in the state of New York. They're working with NYSEG to provide the rebates. So that sealed program through NYSEG, we just come out, we tell you what needs to happen for the attic insulation to be upgraded efficiently. All we have to do to get you enrolled for that rebate is just take some attic pictures while we're there, you know, get the signed contract from you, and we just submit it to sealed and they do the rest of the work. It's an instant rebate, so when you get your bill, it just comes right off of the bill total, and it just makes it easier. It's actually a really easy process for both of them.
Great. Okay, thank you so much, Jess, for chiming in about that. And we can come back to these programs if anyone has any questions during the Q&A section. Okay. So we've talked about a lot of different incentives for weatherization, for heat pumps. So we're just going to throw a little bit more at you. There are some other energy efficiency upgrades available if you're not ready to, you know, dive into a whole new heating and cooling system for your home or to upgrade your insulation. These could be also very helpful incentives. So the first thing is if you are needing any electrical upgrades, whether you just have an old system like a knob and tube system, or you are moving on to getting a heat pump, but you need to upgrade your electrical wiring or your breaker box, your electric panel. There are different rebates. There's a low income and a moderate income rebate for this, and also a tax credit. And then for electrical wiring, there is low, moderate, and high income rebate. For electric appliances, so if you need a new clothes dryer, you could look into a heat pump clothes dryer, and that has both the low and moderate income rebate. Again, that's to take down the cost of the project. If you are looking to get a new stove, an electric or an induction stove, there are rebates for that as well. And then there is a tax credit for an efficient air conditioner. And then if you are looking at getting an electric vehicle, you know, it would be nice if we all could use the public transit system and didn't have to buy cars, but you know, it is a reality that cars are a necessity right now. So if you're looking at purchasing a new electric vehicle or a used electric vehicle, there's different tax credits available through 2032. If you're purchasing a new EV, this is income dependent. But if you're purchasing a used EV, this is income independent, or they're both income dependent, excuse me. There's also price caps for the vehicles and different requirements, but these tax credits are available if you are thinking of switching over to an electric vehicle. Then there is on-site solar opportunity. So if you're looking to put solar panels on your roof, there is a program through New York State called the New York Sun program, which gives you a credit per watt of solar installed. So for example, in upstate New York, you get 20%, 20 cents per watt of solar installed, or I think in certain conditions it's 80 cents. And then if you were to for example, install an 8 kilowatt system, which is about $32,000, you would be able to get a refund of about $1,600. There's also tax credits through New York State and through the federal government. And then we also are offering a opportunity to subscribe to community solar. So if you're not able to put solar panels on your roof, but you'd still like to support solar development, this is a great opportunity for you. Whether you're a renter, whether you're a homeowner, there are a lot of different barriers for putting solar panels on your roof. So community solar is a bit different than what you might traditionally think. With community solar, instead of having the actual panels on your roof, there is a developer who creates an off-site solar array. And what you do is all you have to do is subscribe, and it's kind of like you reserve your spot based on how much energy you use. They would provision a certain amount of electricity from their solar array for you. And how it works is that they provide credits towards your NYSEG bill, so you have to be paying your own NYSEG bill. But the result of that is that you would get basically savings on your electricity bill, and you can get between 10 and 20% annual savings on your NYSEG bill. So that's a great way to access solar and the benefits of solar and some savings without actually having to install anything. So it's great if you have barriers to installing solar panels on your roof. You'll receive savings on your NYSEG bill. 20% annual savings is for low income below 80% of the area median income. And then if you're above, it would be 10%. And yeah, it's a great opportunity. And we are working to get people signed up to a company called Nexamp. They are developing a project that should come online in the fall. And then if you are subscribed, you will then for the next year start to see savings on your NYSEG bill. So how do you get started with all of this? It can be an overwhelming process. You would always start with a residential energy assessment. So that would be through Insulation Man, who is our contract partner. And they would do an assessment of your home, let you know, hey, this is where you're losing heat or where you would be losing heat in the winter. This is where you need to seal up your rim joists or your windows. And this is maybe what type of heat pump system might be best for you. You would receive a quote for the energy improvements that you're interested in. And then you could apply for the incentives and the different financing opportunities to bring down that cost. And then there's really no official commitment until you get to step 4 where you actually sign a contract for the systems that you want. And then you complete the installation work. So our role in this is just to give you advising, is just to help you along in that process. We do not profit from it. We are a nonprofit. So we are just really here to help you through the process. So we're happy to sign anyone up tonight. If you want to visit our website, which is nynest.org, you can fill out the form on the HeatSmart page, which hopefully someone will put in the chat. Yeah, and so that's all we got. If anyone has any questions, this is a perfect time to either you could raise your hand, you could put it in the chat. Yeah, I'll pass to our sustainability coordinator, Eli. I think that's your title. I'm
Yes.
sorry if it's not. Yes,
No,
okay.
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yes, so any questions? If you guys didn't see in the chat beforehand, Lou had asked a question about the STILD program, and first question about it was just about whether these programs can be stacked, and they cannot, as these programs all the NYSEG rebates and the NYSERDA programs kind of all come from the same pool of money, so they cannot be stacked with the STILD program. But does anyone have any other questions, or I can read from our frequently asked questions list? If you have a question, just feel free to unmute. Let's see. Will there be a charge for energy assessments done by the clean heat installer? No. So energy assessments for these programs will be, or actually, I can let Jess answer this question. Jess, can you answer the energy assessment question?
Yeah, so there's no charge for it as long as you haven't had an assessment done within the last 12 months. NYSERDA will pick up that charge no matter what category of income you fall under. It's just, all we would need to be able to set that up is just the NYSEG account number, the name that it's under, and a copy of the bill so we can see what your actual usage is. But it's just one signature on an application. It's a 1-page application, just takes your name and your address, and that's all we have to submit, and NYSERDA will pick up that charge.
Great. Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Lou, for asking so many questions. They've been very good ones. Do you have any others? Alrighty.
A common question we do usually get is like the cost of a heat pump. If you want to dive into that a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, so for heat pumps, it's generally up to having the installer come and take a look at both what are your needs and what is your system. But before we can ever talk about costs of heat pumps, we always have to talk about whether or not your home is first properly insulated. And so what Jess had just talked about from Lou's question is the energy assessments, and on top of that, you can also get the blower door test. That is a test that allows you to, or allows the installer to understand if there are any gaps in your insulation. Where people often lose the most money, and that's where most of the heat is lost in your house. It's through different leaks in your insulation. And so once your house is properly insulated, then you can move on to getting a heat pump. But heat pumps generally go house by house, system by system. And so there's several different contractors you can either get from. So it's always good to work with your installer and talk with them to figure out what's the best plan for you and your house. Let's see.
It's also just important to weatherize so that you don't install a heat pump system if that's your next step. That's too large for your home, because that can lead to moisture issues at a different point. And also, like, you don't want to oversize your system.
Yes, and so that's where we talk about like the electrical panel upgrades. If you need, or if you have a system, maybe an old system where your panel has maybe only 100 amps it could take through it, an electrical heat pump will put on a lot of load to the system. And so that's why it's important to get an electric panel upgrade. Aaron, could you go back to the slides that had the credit, I think, or the rebate for electrical panels? Yeah, there we go. So low-income families will get up to 100% rebate up to $4,000. Moderate income rebate is 50% up to $4,000. And then there's an overall tax credit that's 30% up to $600. So very important to upgrade a panel. If now some panels can handle the load of a heat pump, but if you're looking to get also a hot water heater heat pump, um, as well as a air source heat pump, you're going to want to most likely upgrade your panel. Any other questions? Jess, how long does the sealed pilot last?
The sealed rebate program's been going on since like last fall, and we haven't heard anything about it being discontinued as of right now. As far as NYSEG, I mean, this is the launch for NYSEG's own air sealing and insulation pilot. It was just launched within the last 6 weeks or so. So, I mean, it's going to be a little bit before that pilot program comes to an end too. So no definite dates as of right now, but we don't see either one of them coming to a close in the near future. And we've been working with Sealed for a long time in, every avenue that they've been here in the state. So I'm guessing when they are ready to do that, as long as I have your information, I can let you know if I do hear anything about it. But I wouldn't worry about it ending anytime soon, either one of them.
Thank you, Jess. I just put into the chat the link that will lead you to our programs. Right now, if you wanted to learn more about HeatSmart or the other programs that we offer, follow that link to the chat in the chat. You can also find on our website ways to contact us. You can email us or fill out one of our contact forms to stay in touch. But with that, does Lou, do you have any more questions? No rush. We're here for as long as you want to answer questions, but great, great. Jess, Leah, Jess, Leah, are there anything that you guys would like to add? Maybe that we missed?
No, I think you covered it very well tonight. And if anybody's interested in getting a geothermal estimate, then contact us and let us know.
Great, thank you, Leah.
I can't think of anything else that hasn't been added either. So, pretty thorough presentation tonight.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Leah and Jess, for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for being on the call tonight. A copy of this presentation will be emailed to you guys, and this recording will be available on our website. As always, please follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or give us a call if you have any more questions, or send us an email. But thank you all for joining us tonight, and have a lovely rest of your evening.